Welcome to Revolt PC Tips. Today we're going to talk about how to VPN into your own home network using a $35 computer. So when I talk about a $35 computer, I really mean something like this. So this is a Raspberry Pi, which is a off-the-shelf solution that you can buy. And although there's many other solutions such as Arduinos or other microcomputers, a Raspberry Pi is very easy, and there's a large community that has done a lot of the thinking for you, so you can basically download a package and put it right onto the Raspberry Pi. So what you're going to need for this is you're going to need the Raspberry Pi, and you're just going to need a monitor and a mouse and keyboard. The Raspberry Pi already has Wi-Fi on it, but you can also use an Ethernet cable if you want. Otherwise it's very, very simple because everything is on board. So here are the basic steps that we're going to want to do. First, we're going to want to install the operating system on the Raspberry Pi itself. We're going to use Raspbian, which I'll talk about in a little bit. It's very easy and it's a Linux-based operating system, but don't be afraid because it's very simple to use. The second thing we're going to do is we're going to install an application called PiVPN. Now this is a self-installer package, meaning you put in one command into Raspbian and it will install all of that for you, give you 4 or 5 different prompts on how you want to set it up, and then it's done. And again, I'll walk through all of these steps. Step 3, you want to install the OpenVPN client or Connect on your phone or PC. And for OpenVPN Connect is an Android application, but there are equivalent ones for iOS as well as for Windows. So I will be going through the step of what you want to do for your Android phone, but otherwise it's very similar for other devices. And last, once we're all complete, you can connect to your home network from anywhere using a VPN. So you want to know, great, but how do I do that? So we're going to walk through some of those steps. Step 1 is to get an operating system on your Raspberry Pi. So the way to do that is to go to raspberrypi.org, and again, I'm going to put this link in the video description, but you want to go to this site and download the package called Noobs. Noobs stands for New Out-of-Box Software, and it's a very easy way to install any type of package onto your Raspberry Pi, and you have many options. But we'll go through what you need to do. So the first thing you want to do is go to this site, click download. You're going to see the Noobs package here, and then you're going to see Noobs Lite. So this is the one that we want. It's a very small package and it's easy to put on your SD card. So we're going to download this package. You'll notice that I just saved that, and now here's our Noobs Lite package. So let's go ahead and extract this package. And now we have everything that needs to go onto your SD card. But the first thing you want to do is you want to format your SD card to FAT32, because if it's a large SD card, such as 64 gig or greater, you're going to have what's called exFAT, and that is not going to be compatible with your Raspberry Pi. So you want to format your SD card to FAT32. There's a very simple tool to do that called FAT32 format. So we're going to click on here, and we're going to download FAT32 format right here. So now I have FAT32 format. Again, I'm going to extract it, and here is my FAT32 format application. Now in order to format your SD card, it's very simple. You want to get command prompt window going. So what we want to do, now that we have a command prompt window open, is we want to navigate to our FAT32 program that we just downloaded. In my case, that's in the E drive. Now that I'm in the location where I downloaded FAT32 format, all I need to type is FAT32 format, and then the drive letter. That is my SD card. And as you can see here, that is G. Yes, all the data is going to be lost. And that's all. So now you'll notice that is a FAT32 card. Perfect. Now we're going to take the contents from our Noobs that we just downloaded, the Noobs Lite 3.0, take all of it, copy it over to our SD card. Now it is ready to go on our Raspberry Pi. Once you put Noobs on your SD card and you put it into the Raspberry Pi and boot it up, you're going to get a window that looks like this, called Noobs. And it's going to show Raspbian or Raspbian Lite. Raspbian Lite is a command line interface only, versus Raspbian is the full desktop experience. So in either case, it's whatever you're more comfortable with. But we're going to open a terminal window once you get Raspbian to boot up on your SD card. Alright, so now that we have our Raspberry Pi up and running in Raspbian, the next thing that we want to do is install PiVPN. So the way that we can do that here is open up a terminal window, and we're going to type in curl l https install.pivpn.io bash. And it does most of the work for you right here. Alright, skipping ahead here, now you get this prompt here saying you're going to transform your Raspberry Pi into an OpenVPN server. You're going to give it a static IP address. So let's give it .10. And you can give it whatever address that you want, just remember it. And your default gateway, which if the rest of your devices on your network are 192.168.1, is what you want, and by default, almost everybody's network is. So the settings look good. You're going to make either the Pi username or you can create another one, so we're going to go with Pi. Unintended upgrades you want. Alright, and now you want to leave it as UDP. You can keep the default OpenVPN port. You're going to have to open that up in your router later on. You can keep OpenVPN 2.4, keep the default 256 encryption. And if you have a public DNS, such as your home IP, you can use that. Otherwise, public IP is fine. You can use Google as your DNS provider. And then we're going to reboot. Alright, now it's rebooted. And we're back at the desktop, so we're going to open up the terminal again and do PiVPN add. So the user, you can name it whatever you want. I'm just going to call it VPN user 1. Make a password here. And now it created this certificate for you. So we'll go into that directory. And here is your certificate file. So once you have your certificate file, you want to email that to yourself using your preferred email, and you can open up a browser on the Raspberry Pi itself and send yourself the file. Now there's other ways to do this if you want to transfer the file, or if you want to use FTP, but this is the easiest way and doesn't require any extra steps. In order to find that file, you go into your file directory. Under the username, here's OVPNS, and this is the file you're going to want to send. And you can inject that file into OpenVPN Connect for Android, or for Windows, for iOS, or for any other operating system that uses OpenVPN. And all you have to do is put in that file with the password that you set in the previous steps, and you can access your network from anywhere. Now, the only step that I left out is that you do have to port forward that port 1194 that we set up earlier. Now, it all depends on what type of router that you have, and I can go to the Firewall tab and open up that port 1194. And you're going to want to open it up to the IP address that is on your Raspberry Pi. So in my case, I had the IP address of 192.168.1.166. So that is the IP address of my Raspberry Pi. Now, if you set a static IP address from before, then you're going to want to use that one. But opening up a port on the router depends on your make and model, and there are other guides for that. But once you open up that port, you should be able to connect to your network from anywhere now that you have this file. Thanks for watching, and as always, subscribe for more videos. And this is Revolt PC Tips wishing you a good day.